Okay. Uh, so, hello everyone. My name is Soham. I work as a senior architect at Enable. So, I work predominantly on the Salesforce side of it, but again, I deal with integrations as well. Again, with Salesforce only. I will be presenting the Salesforce Inspector Reloaded plugin, which is a plugin for the Chrome 2 or the Chrome browser. Um, if you ask me, this is my go-to plugin day in, day out in my whole day. So I might be again saving at least around 30 minutes per day using this because everyone is keeps on asking me about for some data or something related to some field or some let's say objects, and you can get everything from this same plugin. Now, just to go on a bit of history. So what I will be presenting is Salesforce Inspector Reloaded, which is like a newer version. The older version, which I have been using from I think 2019, was Salesforce Inspector, which was created by Soren Krab. Uh, this was working. Again, there were some little bit of issues with that, but it was majorly working. But again, Soren just kind of left it and said, I'm not going to enhance it anymore. And it just fell off the radar. So there were things like data export or import, and you could see from a certain, let's say, object that you can see all the fields that are related to that object and what are the values around it. You could see all of that with the previous tool, which is Salesforce Inspector. But coming to again the features which I just said, show all data, which I just explained, which is like if you are on a record, you click on that show all data, it shows you all the fields that you have access to and its values as well. Again, there was user data, which you can see. There is again data export option, which comes in really handy if you have to export some data and then you have to, let's say, do some changes and then you have to import. That's where data import comes into the picture. There are org limits, which I will still be showing with the new tool as well, which is still there. And there is a show field metadata where you can see the field API name. This is also one of the things that I will still be showing. So some of the limitations where it always used to give an extra comma in the query editor. I'll show what this means as well when I'm showing the demo. The second one was, for me at least, the object list never loaded. Meaning, let's say if I'm trying to write a query and I'm just trying to, let's say, query select ID from a certain custom object. If you, let's say, if your custom object's name is, let's say, employee and employee underscore underscore C is the API name. If I write select ID from EMPL, it does not give me that auto suggestion, at least the previous tool. Now it gives me, and that also one of the things I'll show while I will demo the new plugin. So this is about the old tool. So the features and limitations. Now moving on to the newer version, which is the Salesforce Inspector Reloaded. What happened with this one was the earlier tool, they just got the um, let's say the code base of it and enhanced on top of it. So there are multiple things which are new, which are working, and the limitations that we saw on the previous tool also got resolved. So some of the features, again, this I will be showing through the demo as well. But what I mentioned is now this is one of the coolest things that I have seen. I have not found it, not, I should not be saying I haven't found, but there are not many tools which can actually insert records into the custom metadata. You have to either do it through a deployment or let's say through Workbench, those kind of things. Is something called as enable logs from user tab. So let's say if you have a user, you can just search for that user and then you can enable the logs, which comes in handy if there is an issue that is faced by a certain user. And this is a new org tab I will explain, so which will at least give you that, okay, what is your let's say if it is a, what is the version of that your org, if it is on an unlimited version or an enterprise version, so those kind of things. And so this is again one more new thing, which is like the all the things that you see on the setup, you can still do it from here, like flow or permission set or profile or deployments. If you have to go and you don't want to leave the screen that you were on, you just can use the same plugin that we have. And this is where the shortcut also comes into play. Let's move on to the demo part of it. So this was the earlier tool. Right now I have disabled it because I'm not using it anymore. So this was done by Soren. So if you see Soren's name gets mentioned here, and this is our new version, which is done by Thomas. And let me just go on to the org just over the demo right now. So again, this is my dev org. This is where, if you see, this is the icon which comes here. If you click on it, you will see that this is Salesforce Inspector Reloaded. Now, since I am on the recently viewed contacts, it shows me that, okay, the object name is contact, and these are all hyperlinks, meaning if I click on this contact, it opens up the contact object manager page. So let's say if you are doing something on the contact list view, and then you remember that, okay, I don't remember something on the contact object or contact fields, you can just go over here, click on the contact object manager view from this contact. You can go to the contact fields from here, the record types. This will take you to the bigger object manager view, where I just clicked on something. Sorry. So this will get you to the record types, which is from here. This will get you to the fields, which is from here. Now, there are two options that you see here. One is show all data. One is new contact. Show all data. Again, I will show that once I open a record, and then I will show. This is a very cool feature that I often use when I'm, let's say, talking to someone over a call. This becomes much more efficient in terms of showing that, okay, the field might not be there in the page layout, but I can still see it from here. And this is again an admin only feature, so you don't have to worry about those things that, okay, a partner can be able to see. No, it doesn't work like that. I will explain the data export, the data import, the org limits as well. Let's open one of the records, which is a contact record. So if I open this now, let me see. So if you see, this view has slightly changed now. It shows me the name. If there was a record type, it would have shown here when it was created, who created it, when it was modified by, and who modified it as well. Now, if I click on show all data, let me close the tabs. You will see all the fields that is there on the contact object, which I have access to through the field level security. If you go and scroll down below, you will see all the child related records from contact. So from a contact, you will see that, okay, we have, let's say, a campaign member or an email message or a lead change event. So those kind of things you can see from here. Now, one of the good things about this is you can just directly, let's say, if you have to, let's try with something. If you want to change something from here, then you can do something like this here, and you can save the record from here. It will just get saved. The same thing, you can delete a record as well from here. You can clone it as well. Let's say if I clone it from here, you will see all the fields populated as it was earlier. It just works like the clone button that we have on the page layout. If you click on export, what will happen is it will create this query, but then you have to add on all the fields as well, just if you need other fields. Now, that was on the show all data. If you click on new contact, it opens up the new contact screen that you have as well. So that's one of the things that is also there. Now, I will come to the data export and import in a bit, but I just want to show you some of the things that we have here. So let's say if, again, my name shows up because I'm the logged in user here. But if I don't remember what all users that we have, let's see something, how many users that we have. Because it's a devog, I don't remember the users. Just bear with me for 5 seconds. So let's say if I want to search with which user, let's take James. So let's say if I come over here, if I type in James here, it shows me this. Once you click on it, you see all those options like the ID, what is the email associated with it, the profile name, the role that it is assigned with. And here, if you click on enable logs, it will enable a debug log with that user. So let's say if you in your daily life, if an user encounters an issue and you want to enable the logs for that user, you can just type in the user and then use this enable logs, and then you can just replicate the issue and you will see all the logs getting generated. You also have this login as button. If you are system admin, you will see that button in here as well. Now coming to this shortcuts tab. So this is one of the new things that has come up with this plugin, which is like if you click on flow, it will tell you that, okay, if you want to go to the flow screen, if you want to go to the flow category screen, all the options that we have here. Now let's say if you want to go to deployment, you can just type in here, and then you can go from here. So it's like you don't have to go click on setup and then again type in that deploy to go to the deployment status for an example. So that's one of the cool features that they have added. One of the new features which has been added is this org, which actually lists about all the things that you see in here, like what's the org type, what's the latest release that has been added, what's the next maintenance thing that you have, and of course the org ID and the instance that it is based on. Now let me just see something if I have covered more or less or not. So let me click on in here. So this was one of the things that I use normally. So let's say if there are, you only see the field labels in here in the page layout. Let's say if you want to see, okay, what's the API name in the backend, you just go on here, click on show fields API name, and you will see that this is external ID, and this you can select and copy as well. So that's one of the cool things that you see. Now let's go to the data export option. Let's close the other things that I had opened. So let's say, again, it can range from various things. If you want to, let's say, query on a contact object, and let me just remove this. And let's say if you want to write select ID from, and let's say you remember the object, you can just type in the first 4 or 5 letters and then it just pops up. And then you see all the field options here for the filter query, sorry, for the filter clause. And then let's say if you want to add, let's say, an account ID to the query, and all the fields that you want to see, you just click on down here, you see all the things that you need. Okay, so that's one of the things that I extensively use in my day-to-day life. So that's on the export. So let's say if I export all of my contacts, and I forgot to remove the where clause. So these are all my contacts, which is around 85, and then you can copy it from here, which is like an Excel formatted thing. So you just copy it from here and paste it in an Excel. You can copy it as a CSV format as well, and then you can put it in a notepad and save it as a CSV. You can copy it as a JSON. JSON one I have not used that much, but the Excel and CSV I have used it extensively. So it works absolutely fine. And let's say if you have, let's say if I have something like a clean status equal to, if you see, you will see all the values present here. So let's say if you have to put a match, then you just put it match, and then it will just auto assign this single quotes and single quotes in here. So that's one of the cool things that they have. Now that's on the data export, how I use it. Now they have come up with these kind of templates as well, which you can use. Like, okay, if you have a list which will go in your filter clause, you can use this as well. So let's say if you click on this, what happens is, let's say if you put contact and then I want to put account ID in, and then I can put a list of all the account IDs that I have. So, and then you can export it as we go. So that's on this. Now, one of the things that I extensively use is the query history, which is like it will tell you all the queries that you have done. And let's say there is one query which you use every day. Just let's say you want to see who all are logging into your org. So you had added, let's say like this. Let's put this as user, and let's say last login date. So, and let's say if I'm using this query every day, I can just add this as user last login. And then once you click on it, it gets saved in here like this. Like if you see, that's what I had written, user last login, select ID last login date from user. So next time when we come here, you can just click on in here and then just open it. This will pop up. So that's one of the things that I use very extensively. Now coming to the data import wizard, sorry, the data import option that we have. In here, we have enterprise tooling and metadata. I have used the enterprise and metadata tooling. I have not used that much. On the enterprise side, it's nothing but all the objects that you see. So it's pre-populated with the account object, but you can write whatever object you have access to, and then you can put the Excel, the import file that you have, put it here, and then you can run your insert in here. So there are other options, like if let's say out of 10 records, 4 have failed, you can only try those 4. Let's say it has failed because of a validation rule. Then you fix those records, and let's say, let's put it this as an update. Let's say you have fixed whatever needed to be fixed for those 4 records, and then you just retry failed, run the update. It will just run for those 4 failed records as well. So that's one of the things I use. Coming to upsert, delete, undelete, it works as it says. So upsert is like if you have options like you still want to insert it if the record doesn't exist, and again with the ID being blank, you can use an upsert, and if the ID is there, it will just update it. So delete and undelete are the things that I still use. That if you have to delete records, you just use delete, and same for undelete as well. And one of the things I keep a lookout for is the batch size and threads, because I have seen instances where if you put a batch size of 200 and the thread size of 6, that means in parallel there will be 6 imports being run at the same time. So there is a chance that it will fail because your, let's say your trigger is not bulkified, or there are n number of flows that has to run because you are inserting or updating something. So what I normally do is keep it to around 50, but I have seen instances where I had to keep it at 1 as well. Okay, so that is on the enterprise side of it. One of the things that I have started using is the custom metadata, which was not there in the earlier version. Here you can upsert the metadata and delete the metadata. What I meant by metadata is, I think I have only one of the custom metadata. So if let's say you have a custom metadata and then you want to import it like we do for the records, you can do it through this data import wizard as well. So same way, you create that file and just import it. So that's on the data import. Now let me show you one of the cool things that has always been there, which is the org limits. So these are limits which are present in our org. So one of the things that I normally keep a lookout for is, okay, daily bulk API batches, that okay, in my org, how many bulk API have been consumed, because 15,000 is the limit. Let's say if it's a month end, then there are certain processes that need to run in bulk API. Then this is what I will still keep a monitor on. So that's on there was one more which I use, which is the single email. Since again, this is a DevOps, but in my current work, which is with Enable, I have to keep a lookout on the email because again, it's capped at a limit, right? So during a certain time of, or rather the day of the month, if there are multiple processes which are running, which actually triggers an email, this might get consumed. And then, of course, the normal emails will not even go through. So then if you have to keep a lookout, you just monitor this. You keep this option open, keep on refreshing it. This will keep on giving the correct amount. Now there is one more option which is called as a download metadata. So let's say if you want to see what all custom labels that we have, and I'm not going to show all the options that you see here. Let's say if you click on download metadata, you will see, again, I don't think so I have anything here, but let me see what comes out of here. So let me see if I can show that as well. To extract all. This is stored as a zip file. Yep, and let me show that here. So I had just added this so that just to show that I have only one custom label. If there were, let's say, 1,000, you would see 1,000 custom labels being mentioned. So this is one of the things that you can use. Again, you can use it through you can get it through Workbench as well, but again, for Workbench you have to log in and then you have to prepare that package XML. But herein you can just click on this download metadata, click on this labels, and just download it. So let me see if I am done with all of this. Yeah, I think I am done, Kevin.
Okay, just a second. I'll stop recording.